The sun beat down mercilessly on the dense canopy of the South American jungle. Hidden beneath centuries of mist, vines, and the relentless march of nature, legends whispered through the leaves spoke of a city unlike any other, a place where gold lined the streets, and the air itself shimmered with the promise of unimaginable wealth. It was called El Dorado, the lost city of gold, and countless adventurers had risked their lives to find it. Some returned with tales of wonder. Most never returned at all. The story begins in the early 16th century, when European explorers first set their eyes on the vast, uncharted lands beyond the mountains and rivers. Stories reached their ears of a king who anointed himself with gold dust and plunged into sacred lakes as an offering to the gods. The Spaniards, driven by greed and ambition, imagined streets paved with pure gold and temples overflowing with treasures. They could not resist the call, nor could they see the perils that lay ahead. In a small riverside village, a young guide named Mateo listened to the elders' tales with wide eyes. He had heard whispers of a golden city hidden somewhere deep within the Guatavito wetlands, where the sun seemed to rise in slow, golden arcs that set the lake ablaze. But Mateo also knew the truth. The jungle was alive, and it had its guardians. Many had entered seeking El Dorado. None had returned to tell the tale. It was during a particularly heavy monsoon season that Mateo joined an expedition led by a Spaniard named Diego de Salazar, a man whose ambition matched the sun's own relentless intensity. Their party was small, but each man carried a dream so vivid it was almost tangible. As they hacked through the jungle, the air grew thick with humidity and the scent of wet earth. Birds shrieked overhead, and the distant roar of hidden waterfalls punctuated the silence. Days turned into weeks. Supplies dwindled. Tensions ran high. Yet the jungle held its secrets close, teasing them with glimpses of gold-hued stones and ruins half swallowed by vines. Diego's obsession grew with each step. He saw in every glimmer a confirmation of the legend. Mateo, cautious and wise, warned of spirits and curses, but Diego laughed. How could mere superstition deter men destined for glory? And then it happened. One morning, the mist parted to reveal a valley unlike any the eyes had seen. The river carved through it like a silver snake, reflecting the morning light in dazzling patterns. There, emerging from the green sea of the jungle, were structures that seemed impossibly tall, their surfaces glinting with what appeared to be gold. The air itself hummed with an almost tangible energy, as if the city recognized the arrival of the intruders. For a moment, all fear vanished. Diego raised his arms, shouting in triumph. Mateo, however, felt a chill creep along his spine. The jungle had been quiet, too quiet. The leaves were still, the birds silent. It was the calm before a storm the men could never have imagined. A sudden, deafening roar shook the valley. Dark clouds rolled over the peaks, faster than the human eye could follow. The wind tore at their clothing, and rain fell in sheets, pounding the ground with relentless force. Mateo tried to warn Diego. The river was swelling, the soil unstable, but ambition had blinded the Spaniard. They could hear the water before they saw it. A massive surge, a wall of liquid fury racing down from the highlands. A river transformed into a tidal monster. Chaos erupted. Horses screamed. Men were thrown into mud and water. Trees cracked and tumbled, striking those who tried to flee. Mateo clung to a branch, watching as Diego and half his men were swept into the flood, swallowed by a relentless wave that seemed to devour both earth and legend. In that moment, the jungle claimed its own. The gold glimmered mockingly through the sheets of rain, a cruel reminder that some treasures were never meant to be taken. When the storm passed, silence returned. The river carved new paths, swallowing tracks and footprints. The valley, which had appeared as paradise moments before, now seemed like a tomb. Yet, through the mist, hints of structures remained, shining, almost alive, as if the city itself had survived, waiting for the next dreamer foolish enough to enter. Mateo survived, but he was changed. He had seen the face of greed, the hunger that drove men to destruction. And he had glimpsed El Dorado, not as a city of streets paved with gold, but as a living, breathing enigma. Gold was there, yes, but it was the spirit of the place, a test of human desire, a mirror of ambition and folly. Over the centuries, countless others would try to find El Dorado. Some returned with stories of gold, silver, and jewels, though none could prove their truth. Others vanished, swallowed by the jungle, leaving only whispers behind. Explorers mapped rivers, climbed mountains, and deciphered ancient symbols, but the city remained elusive. Each tale added to the legend, weaving fact and fiction into a tapestry that defied logic and reason. Modern adventurers, armed with technology and satellite maps, still hunt for its secrets. Yet the city, if it exists, keeps its mysteries well guarded. Perhaps it is a place outside of time, shimmering on the edge of reality and imagination. Perhaps it waits for someone worthy, not the greedy, nor the arrogant, but the dreamers, those willing to see beyond gold, into the soul of the jungle itself. And so, the legend endures. El Dorado, the lost city of gold, is more than a story. It is a challenge to humanity, a siren call that tests the limits of courage, obsession, and hope. The rivers rise and fall, the jungles reclaim what was taken, and the city sleeps in quiet defiance, waiting for the next soul bold enough to seek it.